Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Welcome back to the show. John Riggio joining us live, usually from a touch in New Jersey. He's an amazing architect and CEO of his own company. It's johnriggio.com. And today he joins us live on the Zoomcast and podcast from Japan. How are you?
Hi, how are you, Jill? How's everything?
Oh, great. This is exciting. What time is it near where you are?
It's 10:30 in the evening right now.
Oh, and what part of Japan are you in?
I'm in Kyoto, Japan.
Beautiful. Are you enjoying yourself? Is this the first time you're there? What is it like?
Yes, it's my first time in Japan, and it's really very nice. It's a lot like the U.S.
Really?
Yes, I think as far as like everyday business, I usually will stop at like 7-Eleven and things like that, and this is really the place where everyone really goes to 7-Eleven. It's really
There's
the
7-Elevens there, really?
so everything like that is like at home. I mean,
It,
that's really the best thing.
oh my gosh. And how's the architecture there since that is your specialty? Is there beautiful buildings? What are you looking at and exploring?
Yes. So what happened is I'm here, I'm on a tour, and the tour really is like an architectural tour. It is showing all of the golden shrines and temples in Japan. So started off in Tokyo and did a lot of different things as far as taking a look at the different shrines with the group we have here. They are bringing us around Japan, and now we headed west over to Kyoto and took a look at a lot of different things. So it's a pretty good tour. It is concentrated on a lot of things that has a lot of architectural buildings involved and all kinds of things like that, and so all kinds of different buildings that were for religious use, government use, and even for things like for samurais, things like that. So I saw all kinds of different variety of buildings so far over here. It's working out pretty good. I think as far as the coming to Tokyo, I think I had said before about with the tennis. And of course, I didn't forget about that coming here, and I took a quick little visit over to Sugamo, which is inside Tokyo. And I went over there and introduced myself over there and sort of talked to them for a few minutes. So I didn't forget about that and stopped over there for a while. So that is really good. And but as far as a lot of things here, I was pretty happy that it's sort of like my daily schedule. It's a lot of like 7-Elevens, things like that, and so a lot of things I really like that we have in the New York City metropolitan area. So that was really good.
Good. Well, we're excited to have you. Please, if you don't mind, share a little bit about obviously what you do as an architect. Fill us in.
Yes. Well, my architect work, of course, is in New York City area. That includes the state of New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and my office is located in Metuchen, New Jersey. So I think this particular tour in Tokyo, which is very interesting, is a lot of the buildings are things like shrines and religious buildings. And I have worked on certain things like that over the years. And so that is really good. It's very educational. And I thought it was really good. I think coming here, a lot of people speak English, which is really amazing. And I think everything was written in English too. So that makes it very easy. And I think getting around was pretty good. So I think that was really amazing. And so things are going pretty good. It's a good tour. It turns out to be really like an architectural tour, which is pretty happy about. I think originally there was this sort of a few different varieties of tours to go on vacation over here, but this is working out pretty good. And headed down to some of the tennis courts also just to think about years ago, and went around over there in Tokyo. It was very hot over here. It's all the way up in 103 degrees, which is like the
Wow.
hottest hottest. It did peak. I think the average day around here was like around 95 degrees, maybe like 95 degrees
Oh
during
my
the afternoon.
gosh.
It was matching the heat wave we have in New York, and but I was really surprised to see a lot of people playing tennis at 103 degrees outside.
Is it
So I was
humid or no?
uh no, it's just like very similar temperature to New York and the heat wave. It's
Okay.
about the same. It isn't too humid or anything. And but I think a lot of people are really out and exercising in the 103-degree weather. I think a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people, I think back home, usually if things are too hot, people are going to watch themselves on the tennis courts. Well, especially with my group, if it gets up to like 103, I think a lot of people are going to stay home. I was really surprised a lot of people were on the courts playing and really exercising, jogging around the park and everything. So they were really getting out there and how weather. That was pretty good. I mean, people are used to that temperature. That's amazing.
Wow. Amazing. All right. So, what else did you want to discuss today? This is amazing. I wanted to hear about your vacation, but work-wise, as an architect, what did you want to tell us?
Yes, I'm away from my office here for about a week and a half, and so it's good. I have my office is still working while I'm away and working on the different jobs that we're doing, but over here it's still very architectural. It's doing a lot of walking into buildings, religious buildings. I noticed here how to really take our shoes off on some of them. Some of them they don't want you just walking around the buildings, and that's always interesting. And so it was pretty good. I think today we went over in Kyoto and we saw this really amazing shrine that was all gilded in gold leaf, and which was really amazing. It's really what they call like a pagoda style.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really amazing. So I think coming on this tour, things turned out to be very architectural. So that's was really good, and I think was really amazing, and so that it is good. And I saw a lot of nice sights in the last few days, and we got to still look at some more like shrines, temples, government buildings, all kinds of things like that. And I was really amazed. A lot of things are very similar to the U.S. and which is really amazing. They have a really new initiative here also to speak English language, which is very nice for me to come here and uh, don't really have to completely learn the language. I was able to communicate with them, and uh, and then I think just stopping back in like the old days, stopping over by the tennis center over by Sugamo, which is like an area in Tokyo, which
Yeah.
was really good. It's this very nice little city they have here, and I think that is pretty good. Saw some of the different facilities they have for the athletes around the area in the Tokyo area, which is really from. I think we didn't talk about all the different aspects of it. I was talking about on some of the other shows, but the over the years I was talking to them, and they had told me extensive things about all kinds of things with the housing availability for athletes and things like that. As far as they have their Olympic facilities and things like that. So coming here in person was very nice to see, and I was pretty happy about it. And so I think one very interesting thing was communicating over here in modern days is like communicating with the email. And I think catching on to the email was a little slow over here, catching on with the email. I think years ago, I was just comparing what was going on, and I think the old Bell system phones were amazingly working, like with the landline telephones. Because I think years ago I used to receive these phone calls from over here, and they used to call me on a landline, and I was either at home or by the time years later I was living on my own, and the phone would ring, and I'd pick up the phone, and they'd have the manager over here who I was doing some research, turned out to be a really famous tennis player over here in Japan, and I would always get their telephone. I can get on the phone and communicate with them. I think in the last few months I was trying to get through to them again, just to give a little visit. They always gave me an open invitation to come here and talk to them, and so I was over here. But the communication wasn't really as good as years ago. I think years ago you can get on the telephone and call them in 2 minutes. So I think things have changed a little. The communications weren't so perfect in recent times, but I remember just comparing years ago that the old landlines were so amazing with international phone calls that I could just pick up the phone years ago and not realize the phone calls are coming from all the way over here in Japan and far away places. I think I was over here in some years. Not everyone was really speaking English. It's just, they don't have to speak English, but it was very nice that some of them were speaking, able to communicate with me. And I got one of those little translator devices, so I was typing in a lot of information on my translator, and was doing all kinds of translating over here, which was very interesting. And I think if I was just to look at my inputs over here, I had I had this here from my tennis here. I was just communicating with me, saying things like this. So that is really my translations to them. I
Oh
was
my goodness. So
yeah. So I
cool.
think
So cool.
yes. So that was one very interesting thing that was happening. I think using things like Zoom was working good. I think with my architect meetup group, the building permits New York City group, I have been able to communicate with a lot of people in different countries through the Zoom. I mean, that is working good, but you sort of have to have the invitation. You know, the invitation has to go through email, maybe if you have a phone number. But I was just comparing that to years ago with the old landline phones was so amazing. I think now that it's years later, I was really amazingly impressed that the phones used to come through, and I used to just pick up the phone. Someone in my family, maybe when I was at home, would pick up the phone, and they, say there's someone here from so far away calling me on the phone. So that was really something amazing. I think coming over here was pretty good, and I was really amazed with I think as far as like everyday things coming here for work. I came here and then like I think in the US I was maybe over at the 7-Eleven like maybe the day before I was coming here, usual everyday work, and then stopping over here, I was back in the same store, which was really amazing. So I think things are working out very good here, and it's a really exciting tour. I think I have one sample also. They took us on a tour, and just to show some traditional things, and I think this is really it's sort of like part of the uh, golden pagodas. And of course, there are people there wearing very traditional clothing too. And they were just giving an example to give like the personal side of what's inside those buildings. And I have a little video that I was earlier in the afternoon was just showing, and I think this is it's a nice clean video of traditional dancing, and this is like showing the traditional people inside those buildings, and this is really what's going on with that. I think this was a very nice
Beautiful.
uh thing here. Let's see if the video is over. Yes. And I think that was pretty good.
Nice. Not easy to see, but okay. Wow.
Yeah, so the videos are just a little 30-second video. So they were also showing us the personal side of all those buildings too. I think a lot of them were had to do with different religions. Some of them were Buddhist religions, some of the other religions, and so that was very good. And I think so. This whole thing with the architectural tour is pretty good, and I think the is very educational. So it worked out pretty good as far as my different interests. As far as my work is concerned, architectural work is very interesting, and was able to see a lot of things here in the city. And then the of course, the years ago with the tennis, them calling me over here from Sagamo. And I think talking to them, I think some things have changed over here since that time. But I always was interested to really make some more visits to them. They always were keeping open, visits here and everything like that. And so that was really good. And so I think the trip was really a great success coming here, and it was a good vacation. So that was really good. I think this was a good time to come here. They had this architectural tour, was also turned out to be really good, and so that was very nice. And so I think the tour was very nice. I think as far as like the photos and everything, I can compile some of them when I return back and show them on another show. I don't, have to see them from my cell phone. And so I think that was really good. And I think the tour is going really amazing. I couldn't believe that I was leaving New York. It was like 95 degrees out. We had like a heat wave, and then came here at the exact same temperature. So this was turned out to be a very good uh, uh, vacation. I came here at the exact same temperature. Sort of just went to the same store, and it was very good. They were able to accommodate a lot of English speaking here for everyone, so that was really good. And so I think the whole thing worked out really excellent. They have us here in a very nice hotel too. This is a really premier hotel for us, so it's working out good. And then from here, we get head over to another city, take a look at some more architectural shrines, temples, things like that that they have available for us. So that is going to work out really good.
When do you return home, by the way? How long is the vacation there, by the way?
Something like a week and a half.
Okay, awesome. How long is the flight, by the way? You left out of Jersey, I'm assuming, Newark or JFK?
Yes, it turns out to be about a standard, approximately 14-hour flight. And then since it's the time difference is coming out to about 13 hours, so it's I sort of go back one afternoon and then I gotta head forward one afternoon. That's about it. So it isn't too bad. I
Got it.
think this is a pretty good time slot. I think 9:30 in the evening isn't too bad. So it's a good time over here.
Awesome. Wow. So have you ever worked on any projects in Japan or maybe hoping to get a job over there? Have you been networking?
Yeah, yeah. I think I was remembering back years ago, and I think I'm talking to some of the people over here on this side. Some of the athletes are involved with doing things like drafting and things like that. They have the same situation of having like a side career. It's the same story. And I think that's from discussing years ago that people have that same idea coming over here and working on the side, making some money doing work as in the architectural field. Say maybe years ago they used to say, or like drafting. And so the same situation was uh, taking place years ago. And I think this is just something I had remembered also. So a lot of people are into doing that. A lot of people find that a type of career that people can get into, and they could also still excel in particularly tennis. So
Wow.
that is so one thing from years ago. They do have things like that, and so I think that in comparing that also they did have that in Hawaii too, because I had met them in Hawaii years ago, and the same situation is because whenever I would talk about um, each location, we also go through the potential of living there, how
Mm-hmm.
things work out economically, and then how would this whole thing get put together. A lot of it has to do with that if you need less spending money, you can continue your career doing things like drafting, architectural drafting, and there's always those different aspects of architectural drafting, things like that. Of if you can sort of work on your own, you would then have the ability to use flexible hours. The same situation was coming through, and that is one thing that we always talked about. And then there was always those economic factors of the cost of where you would live, how much money would be put into those different costs, and then to make extra money, you can continue with a career in, say, architectural drafting, and that's how you can make things work. And I remember years ago talking over here, they had the exact same story. Was that people could do architectural drafting was one thing to make some extra money, build in all those different expenses, and make things work for yourself. I mean, that was one thing that I always went through with uh, talking over different locations for tennis and things like that. So I think and I think that so that is one thing that really always did work, was to have that ability to do like a separate line of work, just get a little extra spending money, and have as like a way of always having some kind of income, and maybe a growing income too, that would you would continue working and move up, of course, and as you would progress in your career and things like that. So that was one thing that was always taking place, and I think so that was the same situation over here. I remember talking to some of the managers over here, and the same situation was taking place there too.
Wow. Well, I want to also remind everyone to get in touch with you. The best forms of contact. I know the website, John Riggio, JohnRiggio.com. And we still have 3 minutes left here today. Just want to let you know, we just have to kind of wrap it up. What else did you want people to know about you? And I feel like we're just talking about the trip, which is like, no offense, you're an amazing architect, but this is Japan architecture too.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things. One thing was when I was talking about Sugamo, I'm talking about the Mitsubishi sponsored Sugamo Tennis Center that's over here. And then I think the next thing is really all the different architectural styles and things that I'm seeing. I'm going to certainly put together some slideshow, and we can go over some different things that I learned over here. It's pretty good, very architectural.
Awesome. This is amazing. Well, enjoy the vacation. When you coming back? What day?
Yeah, I'm gonna come back in the middle of next week, and then certainly we could discuss all these different things on the next show.
Awesome. Looking forward to it. Really. You're awesome. And enjoy the rest of your vacation. Go to bed. Isn't it late now? It's like 11 o'clock at night.
Yes, certainly. I'm gonna get to bed very soon, and then wake up to see some more architectural sites.
Awesome. Well, enjoy your time. Thank you for making the time to still do the show from afar. And pleasure to see you. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.
All right. Have a great day, sweetheart. Thank you to all of our listeners.
Bye.
Stay tuned. Thank you. More of the show is on the way. Don't go anywhere.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to
have that one great barrier just knocked down, I mean, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.